ears are stuck. It was hot and dry on the farm where the friendly little tractor named Otis lived. Otis couldn't remember the last time it had rained. Farmers all over the valley grew more anxious by the day. Water was in short supply, the ground was hard, and the corn stalks were half as tall as they should have been. Otis spent his afternoons out in the sweltering fields with the farm hands baling straw. Once the load was full with a puff and a shove, Otis would pull the wagon into the old barn down by the bend at Mud Creek. The farm hands, yeah, look, there's the kitty.
Yeah, I can see the kitty too.
The farm hands would use a pulley to lift each bale up into the loft, where it would be stored for the long winter to come. When the sun had gone over the hill and work was done, Otis was ready to sit in the shade and rest, but not Otis's friend, the bull.
Just pause for a little bit. I need to wash my hands.
Okay, is it sticky?
Yes. Okay, now.
The bull liked to stand in front of Otis and snort and snarl and huff hot air. 2 snorts, a snarl, and a huff. All the animals knew what that meant. The bull was challenging Otis to a tug of war. Otis smiled. His friends were always eager to play, even after a long day of work. One duck wound the end of a rope around the bull's horns. Another duck looped the other end around Otis's steering wheel. The animals then took sides, grabbing on any way they could. Uh-oh.
You got your crackers.
Yeah, that's okay. If everyone pulled and tugged with all their might, eventually, I think she grabbed yours. Actually, Mama grabbed it. Everyone pulled and tugged with all of their might. Eventually, Otis would ease up a little. He didn't care much about winning. He just liked having fun with his friends. One afternoon, when everyone was up under the shade of the apple tree, Otis spotted something moving down in the field. It looked to be an orange tabby cat. Where did she come from? Otis wondered. He watched as she ran toward the old barn, and there he saw something that caused his engine to sputter. A swirl of smoke. Oh no. Otis raced to the barn with the animals following behind. They discovered flames coming from the loft inside the barn. A fire. The barn was filled with brittle, dry straw, and Otis knew it wouldn't take long for it to all burst into flames. Just then, the tabby cat appeared in the barn window. Look, it's a kitty. Meow. With a puff, puttity chuff, Otis rushed into the burning barn. Inside, the flames were growing, and smoke was forming a dark cloud. The cat was pacing back and forth, high above on a rafter. Otis chuffed for her to jump down, but the cat wouldn't budge. Instead, she stayed. And Otis stared down at Otis and belted out the loudest meow Otis had never heard. What was she trying to tell him? Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see how far we can get. I may have to pause. Suddenly, Otis heard a tiny from the hayloft. And then another tiny. And another, and another, and another, and another. And look at the kitty cats. All at once, 5 furry little heads popped up and stared down at him. Kittens! As flames blazed overhead, Otis stood on hind wheels and stretched to the edge of the loft to a chorus of tiny. One by one, the kittens hopped in. The farm animals cheered as Otis emerged from the burning barn with kittens all over him. But as soon as Mama Cat counted their little heads, she meowed frantically back at the barn. This time, Otis had no doubt what she was saying. How many more were still in there, he wondered. By then, the tops of the barn was engulfed in flames, sending the large plumes of smoke into the sky. Otis was afraid, but he gunned his engine, screeched his tires, and dashed back into the burning barn. Inside, the heat was growing. Sam, back away, I can't read it. The heat was growing worse, and it was hard to breathe. Otis revved his engine, and one last little head popped up, trembling from fear. Otis puffed a gentle chop, and the kitten climbed down on top of him, hopped to his seat, leaped to the floor, and scampered out of the barn to safety. Outside, the animals cheered when they saw another kitten emerge, and they watched for Otis to follow. Inside, the flames spread by the second. Otis wheeled around to see if any more kittens were left. The old boards of the barn's floor creaked, buckled, and moaned. The walls popped. He couldn't wait another second. Just as Otis spotted the exit and raced the wheels to leave, there was a giant crash. Oh no, what happened? The floor collapsed and Otis plunged to the darkness below. Oh no. Outside, the animals held their breath and waited for their friend to emerge. Inside, Otis couldn't move. He had fallen into the cluttered lower level of the old barn, and he was covered in dust, debris, and broken plates. Oh my, that was such a fall. Stuck in the hole with the fire raging above, Otis could hardly puff up. Then he heard, the siren of Fire Chief Douglas and the fire engine. The farmer pulled up, and Otis heard him rounding up the animals. Help had arrived. He knew he'd be fine until he heard Fire Chief Douglas holler! Turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Sorry, farmer. The creek's gone dry in the drought, and the water supply's too low to save this little barn. As long as everyone's safe, we'll have to let him burn. Oh, underneath the pile of broken boards of dust, Otis couldn't see a thing or move a gasket, and his heart sank. Wait, I can't read that. Hey, move your hand. Deep inside his engine. Okay, now turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. The animals had gone wild with fear. Not yet. Don't turn the page yet. The farmer counted them one by one. They were all safe and sound. He couldn't figure out why they were acting so crazy. Wait, suddenly the little calf bolted for the barn door. Her friends followed right behind. Hands on your pants, Sam. Turn the page. Okay, we're almost done. Inside the fiery barn, they spotted Otis. Ooh, down in the hole. Covered in boards and dust, his engine was barely running. Oh no, is he gonna die? Wait, I can't see the page. Move your hand off the page. How could they ever get him out? Turn the page. My arms are hurting. Turn the page. Okay, leave it right there. Move your hands out of the way. The bull looked up at the rafters and down at Otis, and stood in front of the hole in the floor and snorted and snarled and huffed hot air. 2 snorts, a snarl, and a huff. The animals knew just what that meant. One duck grabbed the pulley rope, wound it around. The bull's horn, and the duck flew into the hole and hooked it to Otis's steering wheel. Bonk. Wait, the bull snorted. I can't read it, Sam. Go back. One page. The bull snorted and tugged and snarled and pulled, but Otis didn't budge. All right, turn the page. Leave it right there. Move your hand. I can't read the boards when you have your hand in the way. The horse and the cow grabbed the rope behind the bull, and together they snorted and tugged and neighed and mooed and pulled, and Otis teetered ever so slightly. Oh. The little calf jumped in and tugged and bawled and pulled, and Otis raised a bit more. Look. The puppy grabbed the rope behind the little calf with a fierce ruff and tugged and pulled and growled as Otis inched upward. Up, 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 up. And then came a piercing and the sound of Fire Chief Douglas shouting, "Holy moly, Otis is in there! Hold on tight, everyone, I'm here to help!" Fire Chief Douglas grabbed the end of the rope and tugged and pulled and tugged and pulled, and all together the animals and Fire Chief Douglas lifted Otis higher and higher and higher until he was suspended above the hole. The ducks swooped in and pulled him over the edge of the opening to where they could lower him to the floor. Together, everyone pulled the dust an ash-covered tractor out from the burning fire just as parts of the barn began to fall. Look, then Fire Chief Douglas and his men hosed off Otis and wiped down his frame. The cool water revived Otis. Shh! And everyone cheered when they heard a faint put, puff, puddity, chuff. It was music to their ears. That's what she can. I don't know. The kittens jumped up on top of Otis and crawled all over him. Fire Chief Douglas laughed and said, "Farmer, what say we adopt these kittens and their mama? They'd make a mighty fine addition to our firehouse family." Otis puffed a happy chuff. He couldn't think of a better home for his new friends. What are the last words, Becca?
Can I turn
I told you we should have